Hello everyone, welcome to Music is a Journey. I'm Peter Scove. Today is kind of an impromptu video. I have some things that are wrapping up here and some things that are beginning. This is the end of my winter holidays. Basically since December 23rd, I have been off with the exception of one day that I went into work. I did do a little bit of work here at home, not as much as I should have, so mostly I've been pretty much slacking off. It's the end of the holidays, and that means that tomorrow I'll go back to work, and this here is all going to be gone. Today, also the last day of the holidays, I had a chance to go out with a friend of mine on a trip. I'm going to talk about that a little bit here. But first of all, during the holidays, I took time to rearrange this room a little bit. I brought a table that was over there and put it back here. And I found actually that the way this table is constructed is different from the way this other smaller table I had over behind me before, which is now here. It was different, and I was putting all these like heavy CDs up there, and I found that the table was sagging in the middle because it doesn't have a frame around it as this table does. It just has a bar in the middle. So I had to buy these what they usually call, like, you put them on top of bookshelves and so on and stretch them up to the ceiling in order to create extra support in case of an earthquake. And I put a couple of those back. Well, look, I was goofing around here with the tubes. Right. So anyway, that got set up and stayed up pretty late doing that, moved bookshelves around as well. Today I went out on a trip with a friend of mine, and first we went to a lake on a mountaintop. It's actually a volcanic crater lake, and the lake was completely frozen, but the lake was singing. It was making such interesting, eerie noises. I tried to record it with the iPhone. I think I'm going to play the video, and I think if you listen carefully, you can probably hear the noise from the iPhone recording more than you can hear the sounds of the lake. But I'll play it anyway. You might have to crank the volume up a bit, but listen carefully to these weird noises that the ice on the lake was making. Okay, so while we were there, we were actually just kind of wandering around. We met this guy, and he said that he brought ice skates and that he was going to go skate on not the big lake, but there's a smaller lake that is also in a volcano crater. And we couldn't get to that lake because there was too much ice on the road, and my friend's car didn't have the right tires for it. But this guy said, "Oh, I've got tires." Here's a picture of his car. That was his car. And he said, "I'll drive you over there. Come on with me. I'm going to go skating on the lake." Well, skating, yes. He actually had ice skates. He also had a Tampa Bay Lightning hockey jersey and a hockey stick and a puck because he used to play hockey, he said, 40 years ago. He was a very interesting fellow who was also a chiropractor, but in his free time, he was a videographer for drifting, you know, when they slide cars around corners and so on. Yeah, that was kind of his other, pastime thing, which was weird. It was interesting. And then he started skating around on the lake with his jersey, and then he offered to let me put on a Team USA jersey. And then he wanted to take pictures of me and my friend, you know, with handling the hockey stick. It was just a really interesting character. And then we found he also does a real Transformers thing, and he showed us a video on his YouTube channel where he wore a Transformers type costume, folded everything up, and turned himself into a small car. Anyway, after that we went to a waterfall, and it turns out there was not much water in the waterfall, and it was not a very big waterfall either, but here are a couple of shots of the scenery around there, mostly iPhone snaps. But here's a shot of me. I thought I'd take a picture of myself while I still have the beard a little bit here. 2 weeks growth, but I think I wore it rather well. It's all going to go away tonight though. But regarding music, we were listening to music in the car, and my friend had this mixed playlist of mostly 90s but also some 80s music. And some of the bands that came up were bands that I have never listened to before but have recently been gaining my attention. I've been kind of curious about Sonic Youth and finding which is a good album to start with. And I think we heard 3 tracks from this album here. So that is probably going to be my first Sonic Youth album because I rather liked this one. As well, Mudhoney, we heard songs from 3 different albums, 2 older ones and 1 newer one. I liked those. Always knew about Mudhoney since like the late 80s, never listened to them. For that matter, probably Dinosaur Jr. and Husker Du are going to require some checking out. I didn't want to start the year hitting the ground running and buying tons of CDs like I tend to say to myself every year I'm not going to do, and then I end up doing it. In fact, I think it was the channel Tommy's Vinyl Hunt said that he was going to try to hit January with buying no records. Anyway, I did poorly at that. At the end of December, saw some videos by this group of 2 sisters called the Soap Girls, and they had 4 albums, actually 5 albums out, but 4 of them are them playing the music that they want to play, and 1 is more of a pop album. This is more of a, what they call revolt rock, kind of punkish, kind of alternative rock type of thing. And of their 4 albums, there was only 1 that was available on CD in Japan, the special Japanese edition that came out. I will be talking more about the Soap Girls later on, but for now, if you want to know what they sound like, maybe check out some of the songs like Ex-Girlfriend or Bad Bitch, just to get an idea. Also, what is it? Reject Society Reject, I think. That's also a good one to watch. And then I picked up, let's see, the Besnard Lakes had an album that I was interested in that went on sale for 50% off. There was a Tragically Hip album I was interested in. It went on sale. I had to get that. Kim over at This Is Music was describing with enticing detail each of the 5 tracks on this Love Bites EP. This is Love Bites 2, EP 2. And I really didn't think before I needed to get any Love Bites, Aldios, Bandmate albums in my collection. But he described it so well, I thought, okay, I'd like to get this Love Bites EP2. And there were different versions available. This one here is just the EP only. But there was another one that included a second disc, which was their original first EP re-recorded. And he was comparing the original EP with the new one, and I'm just going to fold out the insert in here because you get the full band picture. You can see all that there, and some English lyrics here on the back. But anyway, the other version included, 2 discs, as I said. I got the single disc version because the 2-disc version was, of course, much more expensive. Fortunately for me, both with the Love Bites CD here and the Soap Girls one, I managed to get 1,000 yen discount on both of them, buying them through Tower Records, through the Yahoo Shopping app. And in fact, as I looked at some albums more recently, there was also a 1,000 yen discount coupon offered, but I am really gotta hold off for now. Who else did I get? The Besnard Lakes, Tragically Hip, and The Beaches, which is an album Rob at Northern Revolutions has been talking about a fair bit, and a couple of other people have mentioned them. The album everyone was talking about is not available on CD, but an older album was, and I think I had some points or something, or it went on sale, I forget, but I ordered that too. So we're already starting off the year with 5 things on order, and then YouTube recommended this band for me called Made of Ace. It is 4 women in a punk band from Hastings, England. And I don't have any punk albums in my collection, not real true punk albums. But I really like the sound of these 4 girls, Made of Ace. And I've watched several of their videos now, some of them twice. And the only way to get their CDs, it seems, is either through Discogs, where they're very expensive, or ordering directly from their website. But even though the price is reasonable, with the shipping and everything and the exchange rate, it's going to be just a touch high. And I think I've already ordered enough for this month. I have to wait. But anyway, so what I thought I would do, and this is where we're going to come to the end of the video, is I thought I would make a list of albums, and what I should try to do this year is try to get these albums rather than, you know, starting the year going, I'll get these, and then just wandering off on tangents throughout the whole year, and then finishing the year hardly getting any of the things I wanted to get. So I just want to read off my targets. First of all, the new Cure album. I don't have anything by The Cure. I always thought The Cure was a band I wasn't interested in. But everyone and his sheepdog was talking about The Cure's latest album last year, and I thought, well, anyway, that's their thing, it's not mine. But then Steve at A is for Alice, B is for Bob said that he never owned a Cure album before, but he heard about that one so much from everybody, especially Chris Prophy. He decided to give it a shot and buy it, and found he really liked it. In fact, it was his #1 pick for releases of 2024 that he bought. And I thought, wow, if Steve is going to approach it like that and have so much good to say about it, never having had a Cure album before, maybe I need to check it out too. So I will be checking it out. As well, in the car, we listened to some songs from older Cure albums, and one of them, I forget what it was called now, 17 Seconds, actually, I kind of like the sound of that one, so I might be checking out 1 or 2 Cure albums. Also, John Anderson's album, John Anderson and the Band Geeks. Everybody who has that album says it is such a brilliant album. So, okay, I've probably got to get that one too. Maid of Ace I talked about. There is a band called Les Variations, a French band from the late 60s to mid 70s. Their debut album is a killer hard rock, really raw hard rock album from 1969. It is an expensive import, though, to get from Europe. I should really just hold out and save the money and get it. Damnation of Adam Blessing, the first 2 albums. What's his name? Anyway, Black Leather Eyes mentioned it on his channel, and I checked out there are 4 albums by the Damnation of Adam Blessing. The first 2 I quite like, and I have to order those CDs through the band's website. Whitehorse, got one of their albums. There's one more available on Amazon. I'd like to get that. Always, I bought one of their albums last year. There's one available on the flea market for a reasonable price. I want to get that. I'm looking for a Tokyo Shoegazer album. I think it's called Crystallize. But that's a really hard one to find. I'm hoping to get that one. Otherwise, if I can't, I'll probably get a 3rd Luminous Orange album. A symphonic black metal band from Edmonton, Arctos. They are wrapping up their 2nd album, and hopefully should be released this year. Sacrifice, a Canadian thrash metal band from the 80s, have not released an album since the mid-2000s. They have a new album that's coming out pretty darn soon. King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, I heard so many great things about. I'm going to check them out, as well as 4 other Aussie bands. I'd like to get this one all-girls band called Boulderfield, but the album I want to get is not available on CD, which means I have to find one that is available on CD and might be an expensive import. I want another Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds album, or a Grinderman album, so I'll be looking into that. Ben Rankins and a couple other people I heard from Australia, they're talking about Skyhooks. Alright, so my idea is I'm going to get 5 Aussie bands this year, or 4 Aussie bands and 1 Kiwi New Zealand band, so that's on the list to get. Godspeed You Black Emperor. Brian at Embryonic Robot talks so much about this band. Ben Rankins talks about this band. So I've known about them since, the 90s? Never listened to them. Gotta check them out finally. There's a band from, I think it's from Mexico, of women called The Warning. A really good hard rock band. I want to check them out. And yeah, I said Mudhoney, Sonic Youth, Dinosaur Jr., Husker Du, The Cure, 17 Seconds. And then there are just some other ones, which I think the list just goes on and on. So I've set out my targets for this year, and I think I should try to stick with those. That way I won't go too crazy, but also keep my ears open for some new releases as well. Okay, that's it. That's all I'm rambling about in this video, so I'm done. I'm done. My next video coming up will be my 1985 video albums I have in my collection from 1985. Hopefully I'll do that on the weekend. Thanks if anybody watched this video here. Thanks a lot. Everyone take care. See you in the next video. Okay, bye.